Okay, I want to highlight the event we're doing on Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central. It's going to be in the Beauty Inside and Out group, and it's a Mother's Day lineup, topic, theme, whatever you want to call it. But that basically still applies to everybody, because it's going to be like, if you're tired as a mother, if you're broke as a mother, I'm not going to say that really, but I'm saying it's pretty much for everybody, but it'll have a fun theme, pretty pictures, good testimonies, that kind of thing. And so in my team page, I have actually put some ways to ask people if they would like to join the event. So if you've been keeping your funnel full, you can use some of those scripts. And while we're listening to tonight's Monday Motivation, you can invite people and add them into, you can either add new people to the Beauty Inside and Out group, or you can go to the Beauty Inside and Out group where we have the first post. I think I made the first post yesterday, kind of promoting the event in there. You can tag people in that post, and that would be a good thing to be doing during this time. If you're a multitasker, if you're not, you can just watch the Monday Motivation. So I'm going to share screen. I've got it pulled up. I've got it ready with the words and everything. I feel so ready to go. Okay. I will say this. Pray for the audio. If the audio is jank and we can't hear well what's being said, I'll turn it off, because we had a full call last week and we lost half of them while we were doing this part because the audio was bumpy. So God, give us clear audio. We need it tonight. Here we go. This one's only 37 minutes. Here we go.
On how to do that. So it is 4:01, and I was trying to talk a little longer, Marianne, because I know that nobody's going to want to miss a thing that you have to say.
Hear it?
And they are still trickling in here. But let's just start with you. Okay. Let's start with, I'm going to turn this over to you. It's your call, just FYI, and I'll pop back in when I think they're like, hey, listen to this. It's important. No, I'll just be like, hey, did you hear that? Make sure you write that down. But I'm going to turn this over to you, but start us off with where Marianne started, because she's a diamond now. Did I mention that? Like, she is like, and her husband too, at the same time. I'm just saying, like, this was not a mistake. This was not a coincidence. Don't tell me this accidentally happened, girl. So you are going to break this down for us for sure. And you guys, if y'all want to know, I'll stop talking now. I'm going to turn.
Hey, Lori, if you can hear this, the sound is gone.
But y'all, this is part of the reason I am so excited to talk about this, is because
is it back now?
I think it's really easy when we are onboarding somebody and we're chatting with somebody, and when they want to do the business, that's easy, right? We talk silver, we do all the things. But what about all those people that are like, I just want the cheapest price, maybe down the road if I see results, don't talk to me about the business yet? And I was one of those people. And my beautiful friend and mentor, Trisha Rager, who I met on Instagram, I didn't know before, has become one of my dearest friends, was so smart, because she didn't push me, but she did plant seed, right? And so you guys, if you look at your screen here, you'll see a little bit about my life, but I'm turning the big 4-0 this year. I do have 5 kids. Let me tell you, and I put a a couple pictures on here so you can see. So you see my before and after transformation. I did lose 20 pounds with Plexus, microbiome, triplex, X Factor Plus. Okay. The picture next to it, I'm holding my two little girls who now Mia is 13 and Sadie is going into middle school, who is sitting on my lap. Y'all, that was my thinnest I've ever been. I was actually thinner, 10 pounds thinner than I am now. And I was so exhausted and in just this like funk. I mean, it was awful. And so I always like to look at that picture because it was pre-Plexus early. I had just turned 30. But I so needed some Plexus. I so did. And then if you look at the picture underneath that, that was actually Helen. She is my fifth baby. She's now 3. And if you watch my Insta story, you can see her grow up on Instagram. But this was right after I started Plexus. And you guys, I had so much hope in my heart. I was so excited that these products were going to change my life. And of course they did. And I tell people all the time, it was not an overnight thing. You know, the picture that you see, the transformation, that was a 90-day plus process, right? And we all know that during that time. And then you guys will see some fun pictures from leaders retreat and convention, and my sweet husband who, oh my gosh, I am telling you what, he is my biggest cheerleader, but also like the business mastermind. It is so fun to work this business with your husband. And it's really his fault that I started working the business because, you know, Trisha said to me, Marianne, you could totally do this. You could totally do this. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. It's not me. I'm not going to do it. Right. I had a lot of fear, right? I had a lot of fear. But my husband, and I'll never forget this, you guys, he said to me, you know, Marianne, this could be our answer. This could be what we've been looking for. You know, maybe you do love people. Maybe you should be open to it. And I looked at him and I just, in that moment, I was like, all right, babe, like, let's do it. And he was so cute. You know, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram and he's a 5. So his 5 printed out the whole comp plan. He made a Plexus binder for me. It was so organized. And I, you know, in the beginning, I'm sharing and making money, and it was so exciting. And he's telling me exactly how that's happening. And I was like, I don't know, babe, I'm just doing my thing. But we've been such a fun team from the beginning. And now, you know, in this new position of Diamond, it's really cool to explore that even more. So, you guys, I really want to talk to you about today our 4 critical steps to ignite ambassador momentum, right? That's what we're all about. And the momentum from last month is still going, and we are going to keep it going. And it is absolutely true that those new people that joined last month, your new people are your VIPs, you guys, and they get that royal treatment, right? Everybody gets royal treatment, but you especially really want to dig in and to plug in and to build that relationship with your new people. So I'm going to give you 4 ways, simple ways. I am a simple girl, you guys, how I do that and how I get people sharing right away. How many of you could get excited about new silvers on your team, right? How many of you could get really excited? And let me just tell you really quick, I learned this the hard way, you guys. When I first started, I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go and I'm going to share, and if somebody wants to work the business, they'll tell me, it'll be fine. So I went out and I need to look at the numbers, but it was close to 60 people before I went gold, you guys, because I had to figure out how to do customer care and retention, and I had to figure out duplication. And I'll never forget, in December, so I started in September, okay, and I added 6 ambassadors and finally went gold in December, okay, it wasn't an overnight thing. I still didn't have a lot of people going silver. And I said to myself, I got to figure this out. Like, I have to figure this out. And if other people can do it, why can't I do it? So I decided to become a master. And I remember telling my husband in the kitchen, like, hey, I am going to be a silver master. I am going to develop so many silvers. It is happening. He's like, all right, babe. I'm like, yes, I really am. I have to tell myself this. Right? So that instead of so many times we're like, oh, I struggle with this. I'm not good at this. My team's not doing this. But instead, like, let's focus on what we want to come to fruition, right? And so instead of saying, well, gosh, I can't get anybody to share. Oh man, I can't develop silvers. Why don't we turn it around and decide right here, right now, I am a master at developing silvers. I'm going to earn silver stars, you guys, right? Because what we think about, we bring about. And I truly believe that our mind, like what happens between this eyeball and this eyeball, is the most powerful thing, the most powerful force in your business, right? So it all starts with a decision. And so I decided that I was going to figure out how to help people start sharing. All those people who were joining just because they wanted the discount, or they were maybe waiting to see results, right? Like, what do we do? Does anybody struggle with that? Like, what do we do, right? How do we get these people silver? All right, so let me tell you something. Your new person is never going to be as excited when she hits that submit, right? And she places her order. Her excitement is never going to be the same until she starts seeing results. She is so excited in that moment, right? And if you do not help her go, you see my big go sign right there. If you don't help her go, then she might wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 months, right, to see these big results, right? So I get somebody moving immediately, and this is how I do it. I start at the very beginning. And you guys, I love the triplex video. I have built my entire business sending the triplex video. I remember in the beginning when I was super nervous and I'm like, I don't know how to talk about these products. I watched that video over and over and over and over and over again until I could have a spiel, right? And so if you're new and you're like, I don't know how to share these products, I don't know what to say, girl, you need to watch that video over and over and over and over and over again. I have built my entire business from this video. Okay, thank you, Plexus, for putting it out there. You have 2 diamonds because of it. So even if, what if they don't start with triplex? I love the triplex video so much because I think it really gets to the core of why Plexus is different, right? And so even if they end up starting with a different welcome pack, I still send it. And so I send the video. Somebody, is interested in Plexus. I send the video. Then I follow up and I say, what did you think? And, what did you relate to? What did you relate to anything in the video, right? So we're talking about their health goals. Then I say, Susie, when I watched that video for the first time, I immediately thought of so many of my friends that also were struggling with low energy, that were also struggling with sugar addiction. What about you? Who came to mind? And then you must be quiet. Okay? So you are planting these seeds. My goal is for her to share with me 3 names of 3 people in her life that are also struggling with health issues, right? And so 9 times out of 10, they're like, my husband, gosh, he's drinking too much Dr. Pepper. He totally needs this, right? My mom, and gosh, my sister too, she has, whatever that case may be. And I'm like, okay, awesome. Listen, Susie, if you decide that this is a fit for you, we have an awesome referral program, and I'll share with you all about it. And we can get all 3 of those people started, and you'll get your products covered next month. So I plant those seeds, right? But we already have a running list of people that we're going to talk to. Okay, so number 2. You're going to look for opportunities to, again, plant these seeds. Like I walk people through the sign up process, right? And so when they say, well, what is this business site? What do I put in here? I'm like, oh, that's your referral link. You can put your first and last name, no spaces. And remember, we were talking about how your mom might want to try these products. As soon as we're done getting your order in, then we can talk about getting your mom's order in, and that's the referral link so that you get credit. See how I'm doing that? I'm expecting that she's going to reach out to her mom, and I'm expecting that the sharing process is going to immediately happen, right? You get what you expect, okay? Now, you're going to need to practice this in the shower. Anybody else in the shower? That's where all my great ideas come. Yes, washing my hair in the shower. And y'all, I practice this because you cannot text this, okay? You must, I like to either do it on the phone or I like to do it in a voice messenger. They must hear your voice. This business is all about relationships, it's all about connection, and that cannot happen if they don't hear your voice, okay? So even if I've got kids loud in the background, whatever, I just do it, okay? So you need to practice this so it sounds like you, so that you're confident. So it's kind of like, duh, of course we're going to share with your mom. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So you're going to look for opportunities for her to share. And I put just some verbiage up here. Hey, Emily, let's reach out to your friend Michelle and see if she wants to be a power partner with you. Now, this is once they've ordered. Okay. Once they order, I do not immediately do anything else. Of course, eventually you're going to add them to the team page and get them things started right and introduce them to your sponsor and all the things. But the first thing that I do is I go back to the people that they've told me, hey, my sister really needs this. And I come up with a game plan of how we're going to reach out to her sister. Okay. And so, you're going to have to read that person. Some people are really, bubbly, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to call my sister right now. And so you're going to you're going to be like, hey, listen, show your sister that triplex video, because I know you just ordered. Show it to her and see what she thinks, and then ask her what her health goals are, and then come back and tell me, and I will recommend a welcome back for her, right? So you need to give her step by step by step. Offer to do a 3-way chat, right? Get on a Zoom. I always recommend that, oh yeah, this is number 3. Go set a game plan. I always recommend that they do a social media post, okay? And I give them the full verbiage. And I say, listen, I know we talked about your sister. And so this is what I'm thinking, because I bet you've got some other people that would come out of the woodwork if they knew what you were using, and that really are probably struggling and silently suffering, that haven't even told you about what they're dealing with, right? So how do you feel about just throwing up, pull out your Easter family photo, and you can just let people know, like, hey, I just started this pink drink my friend Marianne introduced me to. I'm hoping it helps me with X, Y, and Z. This is what it helped Marianne with. I'd love a power partner who wants to try this with me. And I explained to her, if she does that, then it's really easy and organic to call up her sister and be like, hey, did you see the post? Did you see it? You want to do it with me? Right? And so it just kind of makes sense. So I ask them to post. Some people say yes, some people say no, but I ask. Again, you have to do this in a voice message. You have to practice so that you're confident, and it just is smooth, right? It's just smooth as butter. Okay. And here's the kicker. Nobody can teach you guys this but you. So you've got to decide, like, I'm going to master this. I'm going to bring people in threes, right? I'm going to bring people in threes. Can you imagine if you maximize this month and you added 6 level 1 ambassadors, right? The incredible May promo, and then you helped 3 of them go and add 3 people, or maybe 6? I mean, can you imagine? It would just be incredible, right? And so it all starts with that decision first. So set a game plan and figure out how you're going to reach out to the people that they have mentioned. Okay? That's what you're going to do. All right. And then number 4, right? You are going to immediately plug them in with some third-party validation, okay? So this can be an assignment documentary, it can be a testimonial based on their health goals, putting them in a three-way chat with your sponsor. And you're gonna plug them in, you guys. I want people, when they order, to feel like they have just joined an incredible, because they have an incredible sisterhood, brotherhood, support system, their health goals, their business. Like, I want them to feel all the good feels, right? All the good vibes. And I have people tell me, I just love being in the space of positive people. And I'm like, yes, that's what this is all about. And, if you have added a good bit of ambassadors over the last couple of weeks, you can even put them all together, right? And bond them together. I do that a lot on Instagram. All my new people, and everybody shares health goals, and I kind of raise all the baby birds up together, right? And develop silvers in that way as well. So these 4 steps, you guys, are very simple things that you can do to duplicate. And these are not my words. The amazing Emily Luther, who is a incredible leader, enrolled on our team, on Jennifer Cobb's team, she said this, and I was like, this is the most brilliant thing ever. Once you've done all of that, right, and you've talked about those people in their life and hopefully reached out to them, it's probably going to come up that, hey, we have a referral program. Hey, they can be compensated when there's sister orders, right? And so you can easily say, hey, listen, Susie, while we're waiting on your products to come in, do you want me to share with you how you could make an income already, like you're doing, sharing with people? And at that point, I'm going to go over silver. I'm going to go over the May incentive. I'm going to break it down, and we're going to talk some numbers, right? I'm also going to send there's Emily. I'm also going to send a video on the opportunity. I am such, y'all, I believe in working smarter rather than harder, right? And let's just face it, there is nothing like sending a opportunity video. You can talk about it all day long, but I love that Plexus very short opportunity video to go along with what we're going to talk about and really just like paint the picture, right? It sets the vibe with the conversation. And so I am constantly letting other smart, amazing people work with me, right? I'm like, this is some great content. I need to use this, right? And it also makes your job and your time, right? You're working smarter rather than harder. So I use tons and tons of third-party validation. And you guys can just, I just go on the Plexus YouTube channel and easy peasy sharing. Also, y'all, there are so many. I mean, the back office is out of control. Oh my gosh, thank you, Plexus, for all of these resources. Have all seen the new ambassadors start guide? The other day just went through it again because I'm like, this is incredible. And so, y'all, they have step by step for new ambassadors. Use this, you guys. In fact, when they first log in, and actually it says, I saw it on my back office too, if you're new, click here. And it's going to take them 1, 2, 3 through everything. Absolutely amazing. I'm so thankful for this. I make sure that they're in the Plexus ambassador community. I make sure that, again, they feel super duper plugged in, you guys. And even if they are a happy wholesaler, I still put them in the Plexus ambassador community because they need to be a part of all of that, right? And it's only going to build their belief. And I can't tell you how many happy wholesalers in the past 6 months have come out of the woodwork saying, hey, I want to work this business, and have gone on to just do incredible things, you guys, incredible things. But if you keep them plugged in, that will be what is going to happen, right? So I think are those all our slides? I think they are. I think that's everything I had. More great tips. Yes, Oh, so just to recap, send an impactful video, triplex, right? Ask who do you know who could benefit from Plexus. Schedule a time to reach out together. Now, by schedule, I don't mean like tomorrow. I mean like right now, right? Like right now, while they're excited, right? Immediately plug in, and it's just gonna flow. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. Yeah, I think that's everything I had to share.
Look, I got a towel on my chair. Just take that down. Was that helpful? I'm just asking the 470 of you on the call. Was that helpful at all? Yes. Okay. So a couple things I'm going to point out here. The first thing is Marianne is very intentional and systematic. So I have to tell you all, some of y'all are like spinning your wheels because you just won't submit to a system. Like 100%. Like there are so many of you, and I can't look at anybody in the eyes, but there are so many of you that are like, I don't want to send a video that seems so impersonal. And it's like she's telling you, send the video and then follow up with your personality. We're not saying become a robot. We're not saying don't make it your own, but you can see that she's using tools. I just want to make that clear. Does everybody see that she's using tools and that she didn't have to spend a lot of time explaining to you what she says because she's using tools, right? Videos are tools. Testimonials are tools. Other people are tools, okay? So there's that. The second thing is that she's leveraging a process. So step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. There was no, it depends. I was gonna stop and look at people for a while, right? So if your system has an it depends anywhere in it, that becomes really hard to teach new people, y'all. It's like, if you can just teach people like, hey, here's what you do. You do this, and then you call them, and then you send this video, and then you do this, right? There's no, it depends, right? It's just 100%. It's a system. It's all right here. Send an impactful product video. Ask them who they know that could benefit from Plexus. There's no, it depends. There's no like, if they say this, then I do this, and then I evaluate and judge. Like, she's just working her system. So I just want to make sure you all see that. And she does it with grace, personality, and like a really great heart. So there's nothing about this that to me feels salesy or slimy or pushy. Are y'all picking up what she's laying down? Like, can you agree? So if she can do this, you can do this. So I just had to point that out, Marianne, because like, you were like, I send videos, I use videos. I was like, hey, I was over here clapping by myself. Okay, so somebody did ask, what is your favorite opportunity video?
I just send the Plexus one that has, I think like Abby Kappa is in it at the beginning. Yeah. I like it. I think short is better. And I just like it. You know, once they watch the video, I feel like the video allows them to be open, right? To be open. And so once they watch the video, I like to get on a Zoom with them. And then Jennifer Cobb came out with something called mapping, which basically means I have them make a write down 1, 2, 3, right? And we write names down of mapping out silver, like who that might be, you know. I keep it really simple. I don't go all explain like what it takes to be diamond. I'm like, so you can make $300 when you share with 3 people. Who do you think those 3 people are going to be?
So can I like, y'all, do you get that? Like, you can make $300 if you share with 3 people. Like, I just need to make sure you all understand that. That is an amazing opportunity that is not going to be around forever, right? The videos can be found on the Plexus YouTube channel. Just that's like the easiest place to find them. Okay, so I love that. I love that. What I also love And please let these lovely people know why it's so important to use your voice and not just text people, because you touched on it and I was jumping up and down, but like, you tell them.
Well, I get cold messaged all the time. All the time. And it always makes me laugh because I'm like, clearly you're not even looking at my page. So here's the thing, you guys. You only get one shot, right? One shot to really make a connection. Not an impression, but a connection. And why is somebody going to order with you? Why is somebody going to want to reach out to their mom? Because they trust you, right? They're not going to reach out to their mom with some sales pitch, right? This is their mom. And so you've got to build that connection. And the way that you do it is through your voice. Now, here is a tip. Do you know that you can send yourself voice messages on Messenger? Yes, but you can practice. And so what I did in the beginning, and I still do, I will practice and say their name. So if it's a good one, I can send and boom, it's done. But the best way, y'all, is you just gotta do it. You know, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs, and I will tell you there's a lot of themes. Success leaves clues. One of the biggest clues is that they are not scared to fall on their face and fail, right? And I think that if you approach it in that way, it gives you a level of humility, and it really just, people can feel it. They can feel it through Messenger. They can feel it through your DMs, right? And your response will be so much better.
Yes. Yeah. Can I tell you something? Every one of you on this call, if you didn't do anything differently, but you just started sending voice messages to people or calling people, you would see your business exponentially grow. You 100% would see your business exponentially grow, because nothing creates trust, right? Like closeness and authenticity. And y'all, the other thing is, did I mention that she and her husband went diamond? They're trending diamonds. Did I mention that? So like, it's not like, I always just want to tell people, like, it's not like it just worked once, it worked twice, and they did it like in tandem. So that, like, talk about success leaving clues, like, just saying. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So what are you going to try, y'all? What are you going to try as a result of being on this call? How many of you are committed to calling everyone you enrolled last month and having these conversations with them? I just want to know, are you committed to doing that? Because every one of those people has the ability to connect you with a minimum of 3 people. Okay? And we know that those 3 people mean significant income, and people are looking for significant income. All right, good. I know. Jen, listen, if the texting is working for you, girl, I know, but what I know for sure is that most people say, like, not working as well as, like, you gotta try something a little new. You just gotta try something new. All right, Marianne, any last words of wisdom? This was fantastic.
Oh, well, I had so much fun. Well, I'll say this. I know some of you are like, oh, I haven't been doing this. Maybe it's too late for last people. Maybe I need to go get some new ones. No, it's not too late. So this is what I recommend you do. Go find a video and say, girl, I saw this and I thought of you. Watch it. Tell me what you think. You're re-excited with the video, because then she's going to be open. I don't know, send her a product video, send her something, right? Something that you think she would like. Then say to her, well, who came to mind? She's already an ambassador. That's okay, right? If you didn't do this the first time, no big deal. Send her another video, ask her questions. Just start from that process, right? It's not too late. You can absolutely do that. So okay. I'm pumped for everybody to
I know.
start sending them.
Listen, we'll owe it all to you. We will owe it all to you. Let's just have one quick question. What do you say people that are looking for those 3 this month? Because we have a lot of people that are brand new ambassadors, and they're probably asking themselves, how do I approach my first 3 people? So let's just hear your tip.
Well, I will tell you that I did not go silver right away. It took me 2 weeks of posting. And I remember telling my husband, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be any good at this. Like, I told Trish I was going to do it, and I haven't done anything. What's happening? But I was consistent. And what I would recommend that you do is that you post 3 times a week about Flexus. I posted twice a week other people's testimonies, right? Because that's inspiring. I can only relate to a certain group of people, right? As the tired mom with 5 kids. There's a whole lot of other stuff going on out there, right? So I found 2 testimonies every week that were inspiring to me. And then once a week, I posted either something from my personal journey or about a specific product. And I did that, y'all, consistently. I still do that every single week, right? And so then it made it, well, first of all, people started getting the hang of it and started reaching out to me. They really did. But I made sure right before I posted, I went and engaged with people. I really wanted to see this. There are testimonials in the Ambassador page. So many good ones. Just ask that.
Just use the tag testimony. You just like whoop, go over there.
So many good ones. It's so good. And so engage with the people that you want to see your testimonies, right? And if they haven't reached out, you reach out. Just be genuine and send a voice message and be like, hey girl, did you just see my post? I want you to try this with me. Like, I'm so excited to see these people. We can do it together. We can be power partners. What do you think, right? And just be genuine. I would recommend that you make a brain dump list of everybody you can think of, and don't prejudge. You know, too fat, too skinny, too old, too young. No, everybody, right? My 96-year-old grandmother uses Flexus and loves it. So just brain dump all the names out and start kind of working through that. Work with your sponsor. She or he will help you. And, you know, start reaching out with voice messages.
Excellent. So you guys, we're going to have her on again, I can see, because I feel like there's more she could tell us. For those of you asking about testimonies, we are on the verge of launching something where you can input your testimonies, and we'll have even more testimonies to share with you. But for right now, go to the Flexus Ambassador community, and there's a tag. Like, learn how to use tags when you're in groups, y'all. There's so much good stuff. There's 2 ways to find them. One is use the testimony tag. The other is to just go to the photos. Like, just go photos, and then whoop, and you have to say go photos as you're clicking the button photos, and it'll take you right to all the photos, and you'll be able to see where the testimonials are. Marianne, this was fabulous. This was so good. You're so on fire. Thank you so much for sharing with all of these men and women of Flexus. We are so thankful for all that you do. Your energy is infectious. It is so authentic and real. I can see that you can be a mom and a rock star at the same time. So thanks for modeling that for all these folks. And thank you all, Flexus, for taking the time to share your time with us to better what it is we do, which is share a very, very important mission. And now's the time, y'all. Let's just get on it. Let's just get on it. So thanks, Marianne. And thank you all. It's our pleasure. It was our pleasure. Bye-bye, everybody.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Yeah. I know the audio at one point I muted myself. I know better than this, but I'm over here like literally smacking gum, and I'm writing things and playing with my phone, and I was like doing stuff on my phone, and I kept thinking if a video comes on, like as I'm scrolling, it's going to interrupt you guys. So I muted myself, and that's when the audio went. I'm sorry. That was my fault. Okay. So other than that, was the audio better this week, or was it jumpy stuff again? It was some again. That really stinks. I have to figure out a way to get this better, because this is made, first of all, I love watching these Monday motivations. To me, especially like tonight's, hers was so, I don't know about whether you could hear it or not. I'm not speaking to that, but her tips were very clear and concise. And they were basically anybody can do it type tips. And not as bad as last week. That's good to know. Okay. Okay. Does anybody want to share with me what their favorite thing that they, I mean, when you watch a video like the one we just watched, for many of us, it's going to be good reminders. For some of you, it may have been the first time you ever thought of something that she talked about. But do you want to share with me what your favorite reminder or tip would have been? I had several. I took several notes. I took several notes as though I was going to turn around and turn this into its own training program, because the way she does it is a system. Anybody? I agree. I love the simplicity of it. While you guys are, if you're responding to me, while you're responding, I'll go ahead and tell you the things I wrote down. I love the fact that she sends the triplex video. I would not have known, you know how Genevieve said something about, you kind of want to make it your own. You kind of want to, you may not think that, but the truth is, for me, anytime I send somebody a video or something, I always think to myself, I'm not sure if that was the right thing to do. And I've actually been having a conversation with someone else about this very thing today, explaining duplication. Not that they needed me to explain it, but reiterating the fact that I have a group called Beauty Inside and Out, so that there's not a 2-month lag. Just think about this. So there's not a 2-month lag when somebody orders before they want to actually get up the courage to make their first post and invite someone. That's a very slow business model from the business perspective. Because of the Beauty Inside and Out group, people don't feel like they need to know all about products, the ingredients. They don't even have to have testimony of their own before they can invite their mom, their sister, their neighbor, their coworker to hop in the group and watch, see what goes on, right? So for me, sending videos and in the way that she does it as part of a system, and then you use your personality or something that, you know, makes it yours by doing the voice messages. For me, that was really, I'm going to start doing that more often, because oh, tell me more about that, Crystal. I mean, like, type me more about that if you can. Which groups are you talking about specifically? Also, I love how she called it our referral program and your referral link, because anybody who's ever done anything like Groupon, or there are so many websites out there where if you can create your own referral link, you know you're going to get a kickback. People automatically understand that concept if they've ever done it. Even if they've ever heard of it, they understand the concept. People will say to me, are you going to order some of those magnetic eyelashes? Because if you are, here's my referral link, right? Whatever. Okay. So I like the wording. It's not that the wording makes it any different. It just helps people to process and understand the way it works. It's my referral link. When they're creating it, how many times have people said to me while they're walking through the process of signing up, joining, and they say, what's this part here where I have to enter in? And they're talking about the referral link part. And I always say, well, that is so that you can, and I turn it into a sentence that could just be 2 words. It's going to be your referral link. So basically, it's going to connect back to you. Use whatever you want. It's going to be your link from now on. Okay. I like her casual tone. I like that she's how she was talking about being intentional and systematic. And I wrote down that she uses, as far as the opportunity, she uses the one from Plexus that starts with Abby Kappa. I'm going to look that video up after this because I want to watch that and see what she's talking about. Hang on one second. I'm going to read one message because I asked her to expand, and she has. Hang on. Also, I think the send, share, invite using the triplex video is probably the smartest. Send, share, invite. Use it. I mean, that's basically what she was laying out for you. She uses the triplex video. She tells, I love how she says, you know, the minute that they've placed their order, she's like, turn around and send that video to 3 other people, right? While we're still in that mode. Okay. Yes. Okay. I agree with what Elaine said. The same thing. I didn't realize. Okay. Okay. Now, Crystal, keep talking to me and tell me how you got to be part of that. Because if that's something I can tell people about, I will. I don't think I'm aware of how to do that. Duplication. When I started with this business, I felt like I had to be so creative, and I didn't realize that by, just follow me here, back then making graphics was not something that was easy for everyone. I was a photographer, so I had the software on my computer. I was making cool graphics all the time. And I found myself in the position where people were saying to me all the time, where did you get that graphic? I don't know how to do that. And at that time, that was not duplicatable. And it was causing people to go, I don't know if I can do. Okay. If you can get me some more info about that, that would be helpful. Just like maybe how I can get people hooked into that. You don't have to do it tonight, but if whenever you can, that would be awesome. Okay. One last thing that I want to talk about that's part of this topic, but sort of a different topic, is a conversation I was having with someone earlier today, and I've gone over this topic before, but it's really relevant right now, I think. Basically, I used the phrase today, I guess this is just one of those situations where you have to pick your hard difficulty is what I meant, but that's what I said was you have to pick what's going to be difficult in your life. And this was a person who was basically explaining to me that, as soon as you said invite people to the event on Thursday night, I felt like I swallowed a shoe. That's what she said. She's like, it's so uncomfortable for me. But she's working a job she hates, and she may watch this video later. She'll know I'm talking about her, but y'all don't know who I'm talking about, right? She's working a job. I'm not going to say that she hates the job. I think she said the people that she works with, there's some stuff there. I don't even really know exactly what's going on there, but I would assume that she's given 40 or more hours a week to someone else and keeping their job, their factory, their whatever, keeping them going. And I basically just kind of spun it around on her in truth and just said, here's the thing. In the beginning, in my plexus business, the stuff that you said, I swallowed a shoe. I feel like I swallowed a shoe. In the beginning, I remember feeling that way, thinking, reaching out to people. And I said, but first of all, let me just say, I felt so much better that I felt like a jerk not telling people. And I still, to this day, stand straight beside that. The other thing is, though, is my husband had been working at a factory for years. He had gotten out of it, but we were still in a position to where it's like we didn't know what tomorrow might bring. He was working at a car lot, and we were in a situation to where we really needed some more freedom in our income. And I could keep doing the photography business, which in that instance, photography is super fun. Making a real living at photography without wearing your body out, because nice cameras are heavy and you carry them around your neck. And I was wearing my body out and was hurting all the time, literally, like sometimes crying myself to sleep at night from nerve damage that I had. I don't claim it anymore, but at the time I was suffering a lot. And I basically had to pick which heart I wanted to live out, like which path I wanted to keep following. Do I want to continue to, because honestly, where I live, for the skill level of the photography that I was producing, people weren't willing to pay what it was worth here. People were willing to pay that if I drove to Dallas, if I drove to Tulsa, if I drove to Oklahoma City, if I would drive to another state, whatever, you know, like people were willing to pay it because the skill level was there. But the area that I live in, staying in business and doing a wedding every single weekend and then spending all that week editing, getting ready for getting those pictures out the door and on, you know, to the site, getting ready for the next weekend. It was an all the time thing, giving so much of my time and only making enough to really call it, and I would have been considered successful at this, by the way. People all the time used to tell me how successful I was based on my talent and how much money they assumed that I must be making for the talent that they saw. People would have considered, and a lot of people would consider even the amount that I was making to be a successful income as an entrepreneur. But the fact is, there was no time freedom. And I had someone say to me a few years ago, I posted something about Plexus. I posted something about basically asking people's thoughts about something. And a girl that I grew up with said, if you want to know the truth, I think you're a sellout. And I think you're a sellout who gave up a great talent so that you could make a lot of money. And I wanted to stand up and go, yes, I did. The thing is, though, my talent is still there. Like, I can take pictures that will make your eyes just basically explode. They're so gorgeous. It's just that I don't have to torture that in order to make a living. I can do that because I want to. I can take pictures of my children. I can do all these things. And I wanted to call her on the phone and say, you're so right. I did. I sold out. I paid my house off. I paid my, you know what I'm saying? Like, I sold out for something that's way easier. I picked my hard. I picked a different one. And so, yeah, it's uncomfortable. I even wanted to say to her, hey, it was uncomfortable to read that from you, but not nearly as hard as carrying that camera around all day long, girl. Seriously? Not nearly as hard as my husband working at a tire plant. Rotating. You got to pick your hard. What do you go to bed at night thinking? If your thought process when you go to bed at night is, I got to do the same thing tomorrow. If that's your thought process, that's the hard you've picked. You can pick a different hard. It may be outside your comfort zone too, but where did we start believing that the systems that make other people rich are the only way? And where did we start believing that that's the way life is? I look at the way I grew up. I grew up in a system. My mom was a school teacher, and we rotated around summers, right? Like summers and Christmas. Those were the only times that my mom seemed to be in a good mood. Other than that, she was going to bed at night going, got to get up in the morning and go, I'm just saying, you pick. People don't seem to look at it like that. People even want to argue with me about that. But I'm just telling you, yes, I want to say, yes, you're that girl who told me I sold out. Yes, I did. What I sold, though, was my ego, not my soul, not my life, not that, what's the song? To the company store. I sold my soul to the company store. That's what almost everybody does. 16 tons, that's right. 16 tons, and what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. I had to see the name of it. St. Peter, don't you call me because I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. And how many people do? How many people that you know, maybe don't know their soul, I don't want to say soul, but how many people do you know that just work and work and work? And if a pandemic happens and 1 week of pay goes by, they can't pay their bills. That's hard. That's hard to think that that's even true. It's hard to think that you can give 20 years of your life, 40 years of your life, and know that 1 week getting behind, 2 weeks behind, a month behind, and you would be setting yourself up for bankruptcy. That's hard. That is hard. Messaging people on Facebook, that's just selling your ego. That's not selling your soul or anything like your soul. It's a whole different thing. It's a different hard. You may get told no a bunch, as my niece would say. You might get told no a bunch, but not 40 hours a week worth. You're not going to get told no 40 hours a week worth. If you're putting in 40 hours a week with Plexus and you're only getting no's, I'd be very surprised. If you put in 3 hours a day, 2 hours a day with Plexus, you're going to get some yeses. I got my first yes that led somewhere, walking through Big Lots. She had seen my posts on Facebook. She stopped me. She's like, I want to see your toe. Okay. Vulnerable. Okay. And I had on flip-flops and she's looking at it and she goes, so you're saying that underneath that polish, your toe is, yep. Okay, come by my house later and talk to me. No, like I didn't want to go talk to her. I didn't feel like I knew enough about it to talk to her, but I did. She's a diamond now, right? That was hard, posting on Plexus on my Facebook. It was hard driving out to her house and worrying about what I was going to say, but it wasn't 40 hours a week hard. It wasn't selling my soul hard. It wasn't owing my soul to the company store hard, and it wasn't like nerve damage in my neck hard. I think what it is there's a brainwash thing going on because you grew up watching your parents do it. You watched your grandparents do it. Maybe like my grandparents sold their soul to the company dairy barn, right? Or I'm just saying, like, I'm talking like up at 5, bed at 8, and the whole day. My grandmother cooked breakfast from scratch every morning, cleaned up the mess just in time to start lunch from scratch, cleaned up that mess. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's hard. And she was doing it while my grandpa was milking cows twice a day, milking cows, cutting the grass, all these things. That's what we accept, that's just the way life is. And I don't believe that that's the way life has to be. I know it doesn't have to be. I don't believe your life has to be that way. And I believe that the only reason I'm hammering this keeping on is because something has to break the loop of brainwash. They say that the way you cast a spell is to repeat it. Repeat the same thing. Like, let's say, for example, children should be vaccinated from, hang on. Hepatitis B before they leave the hospital. How do I know? I've heard it 1,000 times. How do you get hepatitis B? Dirty needles, skanky sex, right? Both things. Now, I'm not saying you can't get it from a mama. The mama can, but they test all the mamas. So if the mama is clean and you're falling for that, that's a spell. That particular one, I can say with full-blown confidence, is a spell. And the only way you can break a spell is to unlearn it. Like, why the heck would I ever believe that a baby could get Hep B if the mama doesn't have it? There's a spell. And so I'm saying it over and over again. Have you sold your soul to something you don't want to do for the rest of your life? Have you agreed with something? Have you ever said, well, I mean, this is what my degree is in? Most of you don't say that because most people who have a degree don't work within their degree. Most people who have college student loan debt 20 years after they're out of college, they're still paying on it. They don't have a job in that. I ask this on Facebook all the time, and people will try to loophole me. Well, I do have a homeschool and I have an education degree, so I use it. No, what I'm asking you, and maybe this is how I should have worded it, is your degree paying you back so that you can pay off the student loans that you had to take out? Well, I do have a business degree and I use it a little bit because sometimes I make stickers on my Cricut machine. What? Yeah, no. I doubt that's paying for anything. I doubt that's paying back the 20,000, 100,000, whatever it is. That's another spell. It's another spell. The fact that we believe after so much evidence is that people don't work within their degrees. I'm not saying they don't use it at all, but I'm saying they don't make money off their degrees. So many people. If you are one that does make money only because you have that degree. Now, I'm not saying, like, let's say you have a degree in business and you have a whatever. I'm saying if you couldn't make that money without that degree, then you are in the minority. My husband worked at a tire plant, and that's one of the biggest businesses in this town, full of people who have degrees in all kinds of things, and they work at the tire plant, throwing tires, making tires, melting tires down, whatever it is that you do at a tire plant, but they don't need a degree to do that. It's just that they couldn't find a job within their specific degree, or couldn't find a job that paid as well as throwing tires. So, yeah, that. Okay, I'm going to pray for us. I'm going to pray that we broke the spell. Since this pandemic has been going on, I have heard more stories, people's stories, than I ever thought, because I post things on my wall that cause people to have conversations with me, and in the course of the conversation they tell me about their job, and I just sit there going, oh my gosh, like, and then I'll even ask them, did you think you were, what kind, like, basically what I'm trying to ask without saying the word spell is, what spell did you fall for? How'd you end up doing that? How'd you end up working there? Why you cut lawns? Not that that's a bad job. I'm just out asking, did you have a passion for grass growing up? Did your dad do it? Like, where did that become what you decided you wanted to do? And was it, for most people, it's just something that presented itself for most people. And most people are not passionate about their jobs. Did you know that? I think school teachers pretty much are, because I can't figure out another reason that anybody would be one. It's not, I'm saying passion has to be. Or a school teacher, if they're not passionate, they end up duct taping a kid to a chair for all the right reasons. I'm just joking. That's a bad joke. But you see what I'm saying? Like, if you're not passionate about that, I can't imagine doing it, because it doesn't pay well enough to do a seemingly thankless job. Now, I know that there are rewards when you're passionate about it, when you're good at it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what song this is. I just randomly picked one tonight. See where it goes. I gotta tell y'all about something I've been doing. I have a golf cart, and My friend and I decided one day that we wanted to go get flags for all of our neighbors and ask them if we could put the flags by their mailboxes. And so we ended up at Lowe's with these $2 flags, little about about that tall. I don't know. With it's got a little dowel rod, right? Well, we ran out of them really quick because everybody told us yes. And we were wanting to do the whole neighborhood. So there's a couple other streets. So we went and found some smaller ones and did some other. And now, when the kids are here, or sometimes when the kids are not, like I'm saying my nieces, when little kids are here, it's super fun to take them on flag patrol, and we go make sure everybody's flags are, no one's flags are touching the ground, and we talk about what a fun job it is and how important of a job it is to be patriotic and make sure you're checking on these flags and all this kind of stuff, and the kids absolutely love it. Well, it has turned into a thing. First of all, we started doing it because of quarantine and we couldn't really go anywhere, and so we were doing it because it was fun. And now it has turned into something that I absolutely look forward to every single day, getting on the golf cart, tootling up and down the street. I've even got a bubble machine, a speaker so I can play Air Force One. The soundtrack from Air Force One, by the way, if you've not heard it, you need to hear it. And that's why my music's not playing. Here we go. I had my volume down. And we now have put an ice chest on it. And yesterday, my husband, tell me if y'all think he gets me. I'll show you what he said. Show you what he gave me for Mother's Day, the day after Mother's Day. Hang on, sorry. I don't know if you can see the back of it. It has its own little pickup bed now. It was just a regular golf cart. Now he put a pickup bed on the back of it, and there's a tailgate that lets down so I can carry around my ice chest, and we can have bottled water and soda pop and whatever. And did you know that people are outside right now? A lot of people are outside right now, and we've just been having fun, having conversations. When I saw that Crystal said she wants to be up with the kids and then have fun, prayer, helping others, and family time, that's pretty much what we all want, isn't it? Freedom. The ability to do what we want to with our free time. All right, so I'm going to pray over us. God, I thank you that you are more powerful for any spell we have ever fallen for. Any brainwash or repetition that was intended to keep us enslaved and trapped. God, right now, I just ask for you to break off anything that doesn't belong on me that's like that. If there's anything that I've still believed that's not true, if there's anything that looked like it was true when I was younger, but it's not actually the way things have to operate, God, I want to be out from underneath all of that. I want to be able to see clearly my choices. And I mean, you still may choose a choice that might not make sense to someone else, but at least you would know the options and you would not be under some brainwash spell. God, that is my prayer for tonight. If there's any brainwash spell about your health that you've fallen for, any trap, and a lot of the brainwash spells we fall for are ones that we tell ourselves and justify to ourselves. Like, well, I'm just this way because, and I don't know if I should reach out to so-and-so because, and this and this, all these things are a lot of the things that we tell ourselves that actually aren't true. Even the way we label people, she's probably to this, he's probably to that. I don't know if they'd be interested because this or that. And even that is assumptions and brainwash. And may that all be broken off of you tonight. Like right now, supernaturally, any agreements that you have made that like, well, okay, here's one I heard yesterday. Well, most of the jewels are blonde and skinny and young. That ain't true. No. First of all, there's 2 diamonds that live in my house that ain't either one of those. Right? Me and Jetty both. We're not blonde or skinny. What else did I say? Blonde or skinny or young. We're not real young. Crystal said she's seeing Cinderella as the fairy godmother taking her from rags to her ballroom dress. And she says, you are the fairy godmother that's taking our rags off and helping us put beautiful dresses on. I'm just going to say right now, I just claim that for me and for us. It's actually making me sit here and think, what about the Cinderella story was a lie? Because she's seeing that. That's spiritual. What kind of brainwash did that little girl fall for because she didn't know who she was? Right? Wasn't she heir or heir to the fortune? I mean, wasn't she the actual daughter and the other ones weren't? What brainwash have you fallen for in your business? What brainwash have you fallen for in your marriage? What brainwash have you fallen for in your work, in your church? Is there anything? I'm just asking God to reveal things to you, to send someone across your path and to break you out of repetitive brainwash that's not truth. Supernatural. May you go to bed every single night and say, I am an heir. I am chosen. And I, today, decided to quit making excuses for choices that I've made that have led me to where I am. And I want to backtrack. I want to come out of excuses. I want to come out of justification for a life that I'm not, if I'm not speaking to everybody, some of you are probably very happy, but if there are areas of your life that you're not happy with, examining those until you're literally staring truth in the face. Oh, all the jewels in the company had a huge following before. Not true. Not even close. All the jewels in the company already had business experience. They've been in several network marketing companies. Actually, that's far from the truth. I find that the people that have the most experience in sales typically are the last ones to do well in Plexus. Did you hear what I just said? The more experience in sales, network marketing, typically, when people come on to my team and they're like, oh yeah, girl, I already know how this works. I got so much experience. They're usually the people that have the least influence over their circle of friends. And this business is about relationships. That's where you get influence, is by having relationships. I'm changing songs. It's a pretty one, but I don't know which one that was, so I might be turning it right back on. Yeah, kind of felt like I was. Is there anybody on here that's brave enough to type out something that they think they have fallen for or just become complacent about, that they now know is brainwash or a spell? I'll tell you one. That's a good one. Not having enough influence. Really, it comes down to being about relationships, and I happen to know for sure that you're good at that, Becky. It comes down to relationships and a system in place, I think, right? Okay. She's also saying lost her passion after the back office changeover and never really got it back. A loss of a favorite product, right? And what happens is, and I know Becky would be the first to testify, is then you watch other people doing it anyway, and you're like, right? I know. I've been there. That's the reason I recognize what you're saying. I've been like, it's never going to work now because whatever. Crystal Moss says, needing to be liked. So with Plexus, it hinders her from the judgment of others. And that's great. A great answer, because it's choosing your hard. I mean, when I think about going back to a 9-to-5er, or my husband going back to a 9-to-5er, I think to myself, I'll just message more people. No, thank you. I would rather keep my 40 hours a week to myself and reach out to some people that are outside my comfort zone. Jetty used to believe that stewardship, this is a word that you may hear sometimes, that stewardship was about saving money and doing everything yourself. We've had conversations about this because I kind of believed it too. I had this epiphany one day and I was like, not really. I don't know what I heard somebody say, but I was like, no, stewardship's not all about saving all your money and hoarding it all up. Stewardship is just doing the right things with your resources. So it may be, like in our instance, it may be paying somebody $10 an hour to clean my house once a week. That is stewarding, like they needed the job. They wanted to clean my house. And during that time, I could use that time that I didn't think that I had because I was, busy. I could use that time. And did you know that, like I've told this before, if you get one customer that's a recurring customer on the triplex or whatever, the amount that you make on that one customer would pay for you to have a housekeeper. Just saying. Get 3 or 4 customers, you got a business going. And I'm saying that first initial customer continues to pay the housekeeper every week. And while the housekeeper is doing the things that you would normally be doing, you can work your business and have more customers, more ambassadors on your team. There's something that society has taught us to accept 40 hours a week. Giving it away, society has said that's all good. Can you imagine if people didn't do that and somebody came along, like if we never did that? Let's say we all grew our own food and bartered or something like that. And somebody came along right now and tried to tell everybody, no, you got to cash in somewhere else. Like you got to go up the road and give your time to the guy that owns that building up there, and we'll give you money in exchange for that. Not a lot of money, but we'll give you money in exchange for that. People would throw a fit. People would be like, no, I'm home with my kids. I'm parenting and cooking and doing the things. But somewhere along the way, it snuck in on us. And now we're completely under a system that's not working for most people. The system seems to be failing all around us. And there is another way. And residual income seems to be the other way. I would say if you told a mom who was living that lifestyle where she's like, I'm cooking, I'm taking care of my kids, and growing a garden, and if you came in and you threatened to take 40 hours from her week, or she could message a few people every day to see if they're interested in her business model, she'd say, yeah, I choose that. I'm not giving 40 hours a week to anybody. Do you feel something rising up inside of you about it? I mean, to me, this is the conclusion I came to for myself a while ago. I'm just helping you come to that conclusion too. God, right now, we just ask for your divine wisdom, for your divine clarity and alignment in our lives, God, with your purpose and your plan. God, that we would not let fear of what other people think continue to be the boss of our entire life. My favorite thing about the pandemic, if you can have a favorite thing about a pandemic, is I have been able to speak freely about my views about things, whether people agree with me or not. And my boss isn't mad because I don't have one. My friends aren't mad. They already know how I think. And I can speak freely and not worry about if, like, for example, it's okay if you don't agree with me about the hepatitis B vaccine, all that stuff I said earlier. I ain't mad at you for not agreeing with me, but I also can speak my mind if I want to and warn other people that your baby's not going to have illicit sex before they get out of the hospital. You're probably okay. You don't have to get that vaccine before you walk out the hospital door. I can say all that on my Facebook wall, and I don't have anybody, if I want to say it, I'm not saying you need to or whatever, but I'm saying if I want to, and that seems to be where God has me right now for whatever reason, I can say that, and if people don't want to agree with me, they can lump it. That's okay. But it's not going to impact me in a way that makes me lose my job. Yes, exactly. Becky, do you guys see what Becky shared? Her son lost his job because something he posted on Facebook. It's a very real thing. Not allowed to have an opinion. Not allowed to say that something is brainwashed. You're not allowed to push up against the system. Not allowed to help other people get out from the brainwash. We even got fact checkers now on Facebook, right? Now they weren't out checking the facts when the obvious lies were happening, right? No, it's now. Now they've got fact checkers on us. Please be more awake. I saw that. Not worried about him, though. That man does what God tells him to do. Yes, they do. Okay, well, I'm actually about to get off of here and send out the triplex video to several people and then ask them if I can add them to the group. And then I'm going to find the video that starts with Abby Kappa. So if people have any questions about the opportunity, I can send that video to them. I guess that's all for tonight. We have more choices than we lead ourselves to believe. How many times have you told yourself that it's just the way things are? I used to say that to myself all the time. I used to just say, I used to have a family member. I'll say it like this. And she was kind of bully. And I was led to believe by other family members that, well, but you don't speak up because that's just the way she is. And I was like, okay, something inside of me, even as a little kid, was like, so you control the controllable ones, not the bully. Like you come in and you say, no, we don't correct her. She's difficult. Something rose up inside of me, even as a little kid, and I was like, yeah, well, I guess I got a clear picture on this, and I call BS on that. Go manage the bully. Then come back and talk to me. Don't manage me. And that's pretty much how I feel about everything in life. I don't believe anything just because, my grandma tells me or something like that. And I pray that God gives you wide open thought processes so that you don't have to conform and make yourself small in any way. And I definitely pray that you're not picking something based on other people's feelings. Like if you're picking a difficult in your life and it's the 40-hour difficult and you don't like it, I pray that you're not doing that for someone else. So that, like, for example, I'm pretty sure that I made my mother very uncomfortable numerous times and probably still do. Talking about Facebook, talking about politics, talking about whatever I do. Did I say Facebook? Talking about Plexus, talking about politics on Facebook is what I meant to say. Every now and then she'll drop a little something that tells me that that made her a little nervous. And I'm like, sorry, I'm not interested in living a life where I can't tell the truth about what I want to talk about. I'm not interested in living a life where I work 40 hours a week to make anybody comfortable. You see what I mean? Like, yeah. And some of you may be in that same situation, only it's a spouse. Like mine jumped in with me, but you may be in that same situation where you're like, it's making somebody in your house uncomfortable that you're talking about something. Well, they're just brainwashed too then, right? They're like, just go work your 40 hours a week, eat your pea soup and shut up. Don't talk about stuff on Facebook. That's nobody's business what you do. It's nobody's business that you lost weight or gained weight. It's nobody's business that you used to have fibromyalgia. It's nobody's business that we couldn't pay our bills. It's nobody's business that we spend a lot of time on money on prescriptions. It's nobody's business. Yeah, it is. It's your business. Like, you're the one that gets to sleep at night or not. At the beginning of this year, something really, well, when I was asking God for my word of the year, there wasn't a word, but there was a recurring phrase that was about truth, that God wanted me to step completely into truth about who I am, about everything. So all of the hard topics that are controversial, and even maybe how I would answer a question before, if somebody would say, well, and they would justify a decision they made. And if it's something that I usually would have said, yeah, I get that. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Whatever, to avoid the confrontation, God's like, just tell them how you really see it. Told Jetty yesterday or today, I said, who knew that being an old grandma was going to be so much fun? Because I feel like that sometimes. I'll just tell the truth. I'll just say, I'm not saying that. Now, there's all kinds of variations of people's truth, but there's really only one truth, right? In any situation. But what I'm talking about is in those instances when somebody tells me something and I can tell that they're just basically, they're going, well, the reason is because justify, 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 justify. And what I see coming out of their mouth is, I'm a major self-sabotager. That's what I hear. And now I'll tell them, I love you, girl. I love you a lot. I love you enough to tell you that everything that you just said is hogwash and you know it. That basically was you just saying that the reason you do all the stuff is because it's uncomfortable to do the things that I do, which whatever, I get it. But you chose that. That's what you're choosing right now. You're choosing it. We don't have choices, or we do have choices. We do have choices. But basically what it comes down to is, I'm cracking up at what Jan said. Yes, don't embarrass me. my mom too. Hang on, I want to see whether there's one more comment here. Yeah, I'm reading what Becky said. She said her granddad used to say, that's the way I heard it all my life, and that's the way I'm going to believe it. Most people have the same mentality. It just doesn't occur to them that they sound as redneck as my granddad. Yeah, well, don't go changing me now. You know what I'm saying? Don't go changing me now. Must have been. You know, too, the community that I live in, there are probably all kinds of perceptions that people would have about, like, if you look at someone who's successful in Plexus and be like, just must be that they have a very accepting community, must be that they have, you know, there's some that little leg up that they have. Not me. Oh, no, no, no. And Jan's testifying with her head over there because she used to live here. She knows. This community was the opposite of, I was going against everything, swimming upstream the whole way. But honestly, at some point, when you're swimming upstream and all of a sudden it turns into the lazy river, at some point, it started agreeing with me. Now, I'm not saying everybody in town suddenly agrees with me, but after you've proven people wrong over and over and over and over and over, they finally go, well, crap, I guess she knows what she's doing. I don't know. I thought it was a pyramid scheme. I was wrong. I thought she was making the stuff up about getting people well. I guess, I mean, she got my sister well, and then I changed my mind. My sister has a baby now because of the crap she said on Facebook. After a while, there's a quote, and I'm going to close with this. There's a quote at the beginning of the book. Let's see if I can find it. Recaging the Beast. It says this: first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. It's pretty much the order of ceremonies, everything I've ever done in my life. First they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. When she put that in the beginning of Recaging the Beast, she was talking about, Recaging the Beast is a book about gut health, candida fungus. It's talking about recaging the beast, and she's calling it yeast, recaging yeast. And that, I turned that book basically into a manual for my business, helping me understand why people were getting well from all kinds of things. But the quote in the beginning of the book resonated with me so strong because I was like, I was still at the whole they fight you when I read it. They fight you and then you win. And it turned out to be true. Nobody, you know what? I'm a network marketer. I literally use social media to prospect people. I walk into the grocery store and I know people recognize me as exactly that. And they may not want me to approach them. I don't know. That would be my assumption. But they don't believe that I'm crazy. And they don't believe that I lied about all that stuff that was true. They do know that they have a cousin, a friend, or maybe themselves whose life is completely transformed because of something I said. I'm saying somebody trusted something I said, took the step, and here we go. They may have a friend who lives in a really nice house now, paid off, the really nice car, and their kids go to a really nice private school because of something that initially was something I said. So they may not want me to prospect them, but I would call that you win. When you walk through town and you got your head held high and you're like, hey, I took a different approach. I didn't sell my soul to the company store. I did a different approach and it worked out.
I think Lori, I think that is probably the hardest thing for people. That the way I was raised, women were to be keepers of the home, and so I was taught that even when I said I wanted to go to college, it was like, no, 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 no. You just need to get married and have children and take care of the house and do this and that.
Yep.
But now it's changed to where people are taught from kindergarten or even pre-kindergarten. You go to school, then you go to college, and then you get a career and you work until you're 65 years old, and then you retire. And when you deviate from that that mindset that everybody in the country has, because everybody in the country has been taught that.
Yeah.
So when you rock the boat and say, here's another way, look what I did.
Yeah.
Then they call you whatever you said they called you, that you sold out.
Yeah. I'll say too, I've probably told this before, but I was on a prayer call thing, kind of like the way we do these, like a Zoom. And the lady that was running it, she was taking questions from callers, I would say, maybe you call it callers. We couldn't see each other. It was a little different than a Zoom, but she was taking questions and she couldn't see their face. But as they're asking her the question, she's reading it and she sees their email address. And she said, this guy asked a question about how to come out from under some of the hogwash. That's, she was sort of alluding to that there's a bunch of hogwash. And he's like, I just don't know how to know what's true and how to come out from under the hogwash. And she said, and I quote, based on your email address. She couldn't see his face, didn't know his name. Based on your email address, I can see that you're part of a higher learning institution. So his email address probably like .edu or at Virginia Tech. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it was. I'm making up. I don't know where it was. But she said, your best chance coming out from under what you believe to be true that's actually a lie is to completely disconnect from the brainwash institution that you are part of. And I was like, this was not that long ago, y'all. This was it was before the pandemic, but it's been since Christmas. And I was like, did she just call that a brainwash institution? And then I was like, you know this. You know it is. They all have an agenda. Sorry, but they do. When they are teaching you about what they're teaching you about, it's with an agenda. It may not be based in truth. I can tell you right now, if you've got a kid in college, they're being taught things that you don't even agree with. I can promise you that. And they're probably being taught things based on who's going to make the money by your kid doing the thing that they're teaching them to do. It's the truth. I'm seeing it all around me. People who, because I'm raising the same age kids as all my friends, mostly. And they're all like, well, but she came back from college teaching me X, Y, Z. I don't really agree with it, but they don't go, but there's an agenda when you send them to college. Who knew? Like, I didn't grow up ever even hearing anything like that colleges have an agenda. You just think, well, they teach from no, they don't. They don't teach from just history books. They don't just teach from business books. They don't just teach from whatever. My brother worked for a very reputable, like the most reputable foundation in town. Here where I live, major philanthropic nonprofit, and they have their agenda. I'll just put it like that. They're the ones that are making sure that seeds are a certain way. They're making sure that you understand what I'm saying. Seeds are a certain way. They can be grown under this condition. They can da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And ultimately, I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure that when my brother died, that it didn't have to do with some of the practices about the way they do their research. Not wearing masks and stuff when you're working around mold and that kind of stuff. I think they've changed it now. But I'm saying even the most reputable whatever around here is still kind of like, yeah, because I used to work at the same place. And I worked for a guy who, wait. Oh, Lordy. I'm just reading what Crystal wrote. I used to work for a guy there who used the science at the nonprofit to develop a product, a seed, and then had his assistant, who I was filling in for, actually sell those seeds outside the nonprofit. It was a nonprofit. He used the scientist there and his assistant to have his for-profit business going on. And I was in my 20s, and I knew something was, I was like, this is crazy. And they are able to recruit these major bigwig scientists to come in, but there's always an agenda. Big agenda. Big. I do believe a lot of that's about to crumble because a lot of the agenda is tied up with government subsidies and all that kind of stuff. So hang on. Came out an atheist. Agendas are changing their curriculum. That's right.
What about agendas? My daughter-in-law went to college at Texas Tech University and got her degree in kinesiology, which is a medical thing, okay?
Mhm.
She was required to take a psychology course
Okay.
to get a kinesiology degree,
Okay.
which really one doesn't have a thing to do with the other.
Right.
And I remember her when she was doing her homework and everything, talking about how much it went against her religious beliefs, what she was being taught and having to subject herself to in that class, to the extent that the professor told her, if you don't agree, don't let me know. You can just leave this class. Because essentially, I'm God in this class.
Shoot.
And if you don't like it, deal with it.
Ah! When I look at medicine, and by the way, my sister pointed out to me the other day, she goes, did you know almost every single person in our family is in the health field in some way or the other? And I was like, no. And then she goes, how not? And I was like, I don't know how that's never dawned on me. She goes, I think we were born to be healers and we fell into the system. And I'm like, that can't be true. And she's like, no, I think it is. Pretty much on my mom's side of the family, all but one of her brother's kids are, one of her brother's kids is not. All the rest of the kids are in some shape, form, or fashion if what I do is considered in the health and wellness. You see what I'm saying? Like, I would be the one that would be the least in it. Everybody else is in it bigger than me. My sister's a dental hygienist, got home health, got all kinds of things going on. And why did I start telling this? Oh, when she was talking about, we were talking about the medical field and basically talking about they train you from a book, they train you from a book that the pharmaceutical companies write, and that's the only way that they train. I did have a cousin. A lot of you knew the story about my cousin that passed away, who was a chiropractor, and that is a lot more open-minded about stuff that's taught other than just like prescriptions. Like lots of times they'll have more natural approaches to things and all that kind of stuff. So, but still looking at health from a totally different perspective, that like to know that the medical field doesn't teach anything about nutrition. In fact, a doctor will tell you, yeah, no, I don't know anything about nutrition. We don't go over that. It's like literally what you're putting in your mouth all day long doesn't matter to whether your heart's pumping right and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't make any sense. And for years, I'm saying for generations, we've just believed that doctors are the end all be all. And it's like when you realize they don't even know anything about nutrition, they will tell you. If they do, they studied it on their own. I'm not saying that they're ignorant, unless they could, but even then they're not allowed to teach you. Most titles of doctors are not allowed to tell you what they know, even if they do. And they're not allowed to give you other options. Like if you come in and you get a cancer diagnosis, They're only allowed to tell you about chemo, radiation, or surgery. They can't teach you about nutrition. They can't teach you about these clinics that are in Tijuana that heal people with vegetables. They can't. It's against their brainwash institution. Sucks. So, no, they're not. That's right. Okay, I'm really closing us out now. This has gone on. Okay, I did want to say, let's see. For those of you who prayed for my cousin during all of that, Jan actually knows my cousin, so that's who she's talking about, the same person you guys know. Okay, I'm closing this out, guys. I should say, lifting all our prayers up in Jesus' name. And amen. We're going to close it out. Thanks for hopping on here tonight. If anybody wants to watch that video over again, you can go direct to the direct link of it if anybody needs the video that we watched in the beginning, if the audio was kind of yucky. Or even if you just want to watch it again, you can go straight to that. And I'll try to get this video loaded sometime tonight or in the morning. Good night.